Happy holidays and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me here today as I'll be sharing my own personal experience through university, whereby I'll be sharing my tips, my advice, and of course, my regrets. Without no further ado, let us step right into it. Firstly, shy away from extramural activities during your first year. What I mean by that is, when you transition from high school to university, it is your very first time being at a tertiary institution. And I think that it is of paramount importance that you use this time to not only adapt but also to acclimate to your environment. So when you have distractions such as extramural activities, whether you participate in the political activities, the focus groups, and any other committees that the university will offer, I think that that could be a bit of a distraction during your first year. So I highly recommend that you probably venture into those things during second, third, or at a later stage of your life in university. Definitely not the first year, because it will distract you from focusing and also time management. Secondly, choose your friends or your group members wisely. I cannot begin to frustrate or emphasize how important this is, because it is always, I wish I knew this in first year, that it is always quality over quantity. Back in first year, I would familiarize myself with a lot of people in my classroom, the different groups that we'd have in the marketing qualification, and I would get mixed up with the number of group members, try and find where my niche is, where I truly feel at home, comfortable, and where I feel that myself and the rest of these group members, we share the same vision, we share the same values in terms of prioritizing school, and having done that, transitioned through the number of persons, you encounter a lot of things. You encounter group members that would just not have the very same work ethic as you do. You'd encounter group members that are, group dynamics is always going to be there. It's still something that has always been there from first year until fourth year. So, or until whenever you finish. So that's not something that anyone can escape. However, I still believe that if you have group members that are very enthusiastic about tackling work or assignments or tasks together, then that is good enough, because it is awful to subject yourself to group dynamics, which is something you cannot avoid, and then also have group members that are probably lazy or they do not share the same enthusiasm or work ethic as you do. So that is something that I wish I had known back in first year, that I should always focus on the quality of friends that I have instead of just wanting to familiarize myself with everyone and just jumping from group members to group. Thirdly, class attendance is of paramount importance. No, I did not have a habit of skipping classes whatsoever. However, how many times has your lecturer told you, make sure you sign the register, or make sure you take down today's register and make sure that you're in class? Because when you probably find yourself that you might be in need of marks, the lecturers go back to the class registers of the specific date or a specific period of time, and then they will see how your class attendance has been. And based off that, you might get those marks or you might not. So not only merely for class attendance of your lectures, but class attendance for extra classes, whether it's tutorial classes as well, whether you think you need them or whether you think you don't need them, somehow along the way, this habit will actually add value onto your life. Student life is hard. You think school is hard, but student life is hard because you require money not only for food or necessities or school books or whatever the case may be, but you require money for entertainment. Entertainment is a big part of a student's life because you're in the city or you're not used to the environment that you are at. And it's like, I come from Port Nolloth, and from Port Nolloth, we do not have an aquarium. We do not have a mountain that you could, go hiking. We do not have fantastic spaces that you could, go on an adventure on. And being in Cape Town is expensive. You need to have money, to do all of these things. So make sure that when you plan out your budget, or when you lay out your expenditure, make sure that you include money for entertainment, because it's essential. You're gonna need this money for entertainment. You are going to. And just as we are on the topic of entertainment, number 5 is to limit your drinking as well as your partying. There has to be a balance, right? And we know that drinking, frat parties, that is also something that is rife in the students' lives. However, you need to find that balance. I think especially when it's first year, you can't go wilding out. You can't get out of control or spiral out of control. You really need to know when is your limit. You need to be true to yourself and tell yourself or remind yourself that this is what I'm here for. And partying and drinking is not going to be a constant thing. There is going to be a schedule for that, but it's not going to be a constant thing. Number 6, and I feel that I should have probably mentioned this the very first thing that I would have said, but we're here now. Pick a qualification that you adore, okay? A qualification that you're really interested in, a qualification that speaks right back to you. Don't choose a qualification based of other people's opinions or what they think they want for you. You got to listen to yourself. You got to listen to your intuition. You need to choose something that you are going to truly immerse yourself in the learning experience, and just look forward to it. Because if you're going to choose being let's say, for instance, you're going to choose to be a firefighter because your parent wants you to be a firefighter. When you actually go ahead and study these things and get to the nitty-gritty, it's going to get so uncomfortable. It's going to have such a strain on you that you're not going to be able to cope. So you really need to make sure that what you choose is something that you adore and something that speaks back to you. And of course, something that speaks back to your marks, because your marks are going to be the one that dictate if you're going to be able to, show up for that qualification. Number 7, balance. When you get to university, the cafeteria, or should I say the Snoopy, is no longer going to be a Snoopy. It's going to be a cafeteria. You're going to have loads of variety of food. It's going to be vetkoeke. It's going to be all kinds of unhealthy food, junk food. And I've seen that some universities do actually cater and are are incorporating the healthy food and healthy living into their menus. So if you're gonna go and purchase food, I'm not saying do not indulge in junk food. Yes, you're going to indulge in junk food, but you need to make sure that there's a balance. You need to make sure, just because there's fat cakes and there's pizza and all kinds of junk food at the cafeteria that never was at the Snoopy, doesn't mean that you need to indulge. Okay? Make sure that there's a balance. you're gonna break down. You're gonna have panic attacks. You're gonna feel as if you're depressed. You're gonna feel at an all-time low. As you progress throughout the years, it's going to get steeper. It's going to get steeper. Things are going to get more challenging, and school is going to demand a lot from you. It's going to drain you emotionally. And thank the Lord that there is, some universities offer counseling for this, and they are right there at your disposal. So if ever you probably need somebody to talk to, or you probably need a safe space, then most certainly the counseling, and it's free, that's the best part that the universities offer. You can most certainly take advantage thereof. Number 9, failing. You'll encounter failing via tests, exams, an assignment, or even a project. I remember failing back in first year, accounting. I got 41% for my script, and it was such an unpleasant experience. I didn't know that a percentage that reflected on your script could have such a detrimental impact on someone. And tell you what, school is hard. Again, school is hard. I need to stress that many people seemingly speak as if it's a walk in the park. It's not, it's not a walk in the park. But I'm not saying these things to, scare you away. I'm just trying to be as candid as I can be based on my experience. And school seemingly seems as if it is the insurmountable. Number 10, nurture your relationships. Nurturing your relationships, whether it's with friends, whether it's with your parents, whether it's with colleagues, or even your lecturers, it is of paramount importance, because you never know when you're going to need people when you're on your way up. Also, be cautious about investing in relationships that add value into your life. Make sure that whichever relationships you engage in, make sure that you are adding value into someone's life. Make sure that you are investing just as much energy as the other person is. And tell you what, as you invest in relationships, you break boundaries, you will go places. Try to give friendships a whole new meaning. Try to give friendships a whole new meaning, or bonds or relationships for that matter, a whole new meaning. You really need to tap into being resilient. You really need to, remember too that success lies on the other side of fear, and that you are depending on your own transformation just as much as your mother or your father or your siblings or people that come after you or people that look up to you are depending on your transformation. You are also depending on your own transformation, and it's really up to you to translate those weaknesses into strengths. You need to work on your character. How you present yourself matters. How you see yourself matters. What you plan to do for the day matters. What you think, where you visualize, where you see yourself, all of that matters. It helps build your character. It's what will help you through the most harshest of times during your academic years. My friend Caroline would remind us at high school that life is about choices. And so is school. School is about choices. It is entirely up to you if you're going to prioritize school. And flate, my story is 8. I am officially done with school, and I thought that this would be a lovely way to, reflect and just get my own personal experience with each one of you. I hope that you found everything that I said valuable, and I hope that you will draw inspiration and stay in school.